Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And today we got the final poster for the Age of Apocalypse update that we should be expecting around 4 days or 5 days from now. We knew we were getting Apocalypse. We knew we were getting uniforms for Beast, which is Dark Beast, Cyclops, and we suspected one for Rogue, which we now can see from the image. We also saw the reveal for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. More recently, we saw the reveal for Toy Soldier 76, also known as Cable. And then right at the front, which I predicted, and a lot of people did if they went with the Age of Apocalypse theme, we have a new uniform for our only confirmed native Tier 2 character, Wolverine. Now, first I want to talk about Wolverine because he seems to be the most negative reaction following this press release. While I haven't heard anyone complain about the fact that we're getting a native Tier 2 character's uniform after getting Thanos' uniform and after getting a paywall uniform from Kid Kaiju, but I think what people are most upset about is the fact that this is the one-handed Wolverine. I erroneously said one arm is all that you need on Twitter, but what I meant to say was one hand is all you need. Now, for those of you who may be confused or who just don't know because you haven't read, Wolverine can still use his adamantium claws in his handless arm. They pop out of the base of his wrist, and he can still hack and slash with 6 blades of fury. However, I think even if he only had 3, even if Netmarble decided to be different with it and only give him one hand's worth of claws, he would still be a really cool character. I expect him to use more kicks and kind of spins and things, and rely a little bit less on just the claws exclusively slashing. But it will be interesting to see how Netmarble tries to innovate the character who already has some of the best and most true kind of animations for their comic counterpart. I mean, Wolverine plays and feels so much like Wolverine. I don't know how they're going to improve upon that with Age of Apocalypse and his uniform, but I do look forward to it. I'm extremely curious to how they're going to change his skills, if they're going to give him more iframes, or if they're going to give his kit more utility. You know, his arm or his hand doesn't heal back in Age of Ultron or Age of Apocalypse because of the storyline and the fact that his healing factor is kind of defective, so to speak. So it will be interesting to see if they nerf his 4-star passive, which is the one that heals him, and instead they give him like a huge damage boost or some other benefit to make up for that fact. Perhaps invincibility, perhaps a very high all defense and those kinds of self buffs. But it will be cool. I also want to see how his new skills animate, if they do change any of them. And most importantly, I want to see which uniforms they select for Wolverine as part of his uniforms upgrade, because Wolverine is already the top 4 combat hero. This uniform is only going to propel him higher. We've already seen people who can score, you know, over 550,000 with Wolverine. This uniform might put him in the 700 range, maybe even 800. Depending on how it changes his skills around. It might make him worse for Extreme Alliance Battle. I doubt it. It will be interesting to see if they require both or all 3 of the new uniforms. I suspect that they will, but we'll have to wait and see. But I just wanted to address that because I don't think that it's fair to judge the uniform just because it may not be Logan's or Wolverine's best look. It's definitely one of his more unique ones, and although it's not the one from the movie Logan, and it's not some of the other ones like the Weapon X or the brown one that's more iconic from the Canada side, it still is a really cool look for Wolverine, and we should welcome a new uniform for you know, such a badass character, especially one that takes off his mask, because he looks pretty cool with that natural hair. Additionally, I do want to briefly touch on Rogue's uniform. I get that Netmarble didn't release individual teasers for both these uniforms. I guess they didn't want to stretch things out anymore or breadcrumb it more than they already had. And I think they did the right thing, because I don't particularly have high hopes for Rogue's uniform. She isn't a top meta character now, and I don't think she will be with this uniform. I would be surprised if they do, because even in the comics, even in the Age of Apocalypse series, Rogue, although she plays a sizable role, she's not a standout character. She's not the hero. She's not the one who gets the killing blow. She has some interesting, you know, interactions, especially with Scarlet Witch and Magneto, to a lesser extent Apocalypse, and you know, she has a baby and stuff like that. but I just don't see a lot from her uniform. In addition, her powers haven't really changed. You know, Cyclops is missing an eye, Beast becomes a villain, has these metal things on his legs, these enhancements, Wolverine's missing a hand, Rogue has a cape, and she absorbed some additional powers. She touched Polaris, and now she can tap into magnetic fields, kind of like Magneto, which does draw them together, pun intended. But outside of that, her powers are essentially the same. She can levitate, she can enhance her strength. We might see some additional iframes, we might see some metal action, but I don't think they want her to be like Magneto because that will confuse casual fans. We may see like a shield skill, like a guard hit skill, but she already has invincibility, so I don't know if they're going to nerf that. And I guess we might see some additional self buffs, but again, she already heals and buffs up her damage with her skills. Her kit is basically complete, so I don't see how they could make it better without just blatantly changing her skill damage or AoE to make her a force to be reckoned with. And they just introduced Spider-Man 2099, so I don't think they want to risk taking his throne away as the new pseudo-king of all speed characters with Kid Kazoo. Lastly, I do want to talk quickly and briefly about the differences between the different Moberums. Now, in addition to seeing posts up on Twitter first, which seems to be the method of communication or the fastest way to see these updates if you are interested in them, so you should go ahead and follow Marvel Future Fight US, I believe, and I usually retweet them, so you can follow me as well if you want. But in addition to those tweets, usually a few minutes, but sometimes quite a bit after, we get these posts on Moberum, which is the officially channeled way that, you know, Netmarble gets out these updates. Moberum doesn't actually work for Netmarble, they're just hired by them. But there seems to be quite a lot of discrepancy between what the different general managers or community managers, CMs, what they do and how they post updates or teasers. And it's a bit frustrating from someone such as myself who's going out and trying to get information because I don't have advanced press releases, I don't get emails, I don't get phone calls like you guys believe in the middle of the night from Jonathan. I'm just like you, loading that page, pressing F5 and seeing it refresh. And to see that some community managers, especially on some of the more popular Moberum pages, because you can go and see how many threads per day are posted, how many replies, and you can get a gauge of which of the sub forums for different languages are more active than others. You know, we have an English one, we have a Chinese one, we've got a Japanese one, we've got a Turkish one. There isn't a Korean one because they have the Naver Cafe, so it's a bit harder to balance that out and gauge it. But just taking those five, which are predominantly the most popular, you see that some have very little information with their teasers. Sometimes it's just the picture, no text whatsoever, while others have a whole bunch of text. An introduction by the community manager, the new character explaining a little bit about, you know, how they're going to fit into the game, or using some keywords that might connect them to certain game modes, and then some stay tuned kind of hint, teaser, excitement blurb. And while some of this stuff just may seem to be fluff to you and may feel meaningless, I just want to see the picture. Cynicalex, I don't really care what they're saying. It's the art that I'm interested in, and who's behind the art. Is it going to be Deadpool? Who are we going to see next? On the other hand, it does show that there is a breakdown or there's inconsistency in terms of the communication and the lines of communication and how it's being passed down. And I don't know if there's something that's being lost in translation. I don't know if there's some sort of glitch in the email servers, but I really wish that, because this has been going on for a while, this isn't a new development, I do wish that Netmarble, and, you know, to the same extent and with the same amount of responsibility, Moberum would get it together and show more levity, or not levity, but show the same kinds of posts from all the different ones. There can obviously be some spice and some individuality and uniqueness from each of the community managers. I wouldn't want to take that away. But when you have one that's blank and one that's full of text, especially in a language you don't natively understand, it can lead to confusion, and it can feel as though you're getting less than other people are getting, which, you know, is kind of lame. But those are my thoughts on this teaser. I don't think we're going to see anything else until the actual patch notes drop. We may be getting another character or another uniform as kind of a hidden feature or a hidden part of this update that they're just not releasing now, just to keep it a little bit fresh and so it's not all expected when the patch notes drop. But if I were you, I would not get my hopes up very high for any additional big name characters. I wouldn't expect Deadpool. I wouldn't expect Iceman as much as I want to see him, or Emma Frost, or Psylocke, Gambit, etc. Unfortunately, we'll probably have to wait for a later update to see those characters, but it does give us the chance to enjoy these X-Men now, and it kind of slows the drip of that X-Men rush that we got starting a few months ago. And then in a few months from now, we can start heckling Netmarble to bring us those characters if they haven't already. Maybe a Christmas special. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of the Rogue uniform, how it looks with her Magneto-ish hair, and the Wolverine one-handed uniform. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow, and sub if you liked the video. Take care.